I'm Phil Tank with the Star Phoenix. We're here to talk to you about what's been going on in pandemic news in the province of Saskatchewan.
And I'm Arthur White-Crummey with the Regina Leader Post. So, Phil, the thing that really struck me this week is how steeply active cases have come down, really over the last month, but especially pronounced over the last 10 days. We were well over 300 cases when we started August, and now we're down to 44. So, what do you make of that, and what do you make of the timing, particularly as we head into the back to school week?
Well, it's good news. Obviously, school's a week away, and we're down to, I believe, the premier Scott Moe correctly said we're the lowest active cases per capita west of the Maritimes. So nothing but good news there. I mean, we still see the odd one, but we're not seeing those spikes of 20, 30 cases, 40 cases, and that sort of thing. We're definitely seeing fewer. The minority of active cases are in communal living settings right now. So that's another big shift.
It's certainly good news, Phil, because obviously in only about a week now, as of Monday, students will be heading back to class, and we're starting to see the detailed school plans roll out. They were all there on an individual basis as of Wednesday. What were you seeing from some of the Saskatoon and area divisions in terms of how their students are going to be going back to class?
Well, I think Saskatoon actually released its plan a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not sure it's changed much. They're going with block, what they call block scheduling. You're going to have two classes. They're dividing the year up into five what they call quints, and you're going to have two classes per. That's in case they have to close school and they have to shift to online learning, and so teachers don't have as much interaction with students. I asked Education Minister Gordon Wyatt because, of course, we had the announcement of much more funding, right? It's pretty much doubled with $75 million from the federal government on whether, because I sort of the deadline for the application for funding came like a day after schools had to have their plans in. And he seemed to think that the plans wouldn't change much given the extra money. So I thought that was interesting.
So the one other really interesting news item that we did get about the back to school plan this week came on Thursday when the province revealed how it's going to communicate with parents in the case of a positive test for a student within one of the classrooms. And this is something that I know that a lot of parents were wondering about. We got some clarity about that, Phil. Did you think that it's going to meet the standards about what a lot of parents were hoping for?
Well, I think it's still a little unclear. In fact, people have been wondering what constitutes an outbreak pretty much since the start of the pandemic. Why they declare some cases clusters outbreaks, why they declare a cluster. Yeah, this is more clarity than we had. I'm still not sure we know exactly when they're going to close the school, but we know when their ears going to prick up and people's attention is going to be grabbed by like, okay, we're going to declare an outbreak, and so parents will be informed presumably now when there's two cases or more in a school setting. So that was helpful, I think, at this stage. Again, it's all kind of a little bit late, right? We're very close to the start of school. I asked Education Minister Gord Wyant if he had any regrets about the plan this week, and he said no. He thinks it's one of the best in Canada, which is interesting because just 2 weeks before, the Premier, pushed back the start of school and said, you need an extra $40 million. So I thought that was interesting.
We did learn, though, that parents are going to be notified when any students in that class test positive, though, and that there is going to be a return to remote learning options or out of the classroom learning options if two students within a single classroom test positive. So that kind of stays in concert with the province's cohorting approach in order to make sure that those students remain safe.
The other interesting news we had this week was the fiscal update. You attended that. What did you make of that?
So I was startled by how candid the finance minister was in her comments about the next 4 years and what Saskatchewan is going to have to face as she aims to return to balance by 2024, 2025. So she came right out and used the word austerity, which is kind of a testy word for some people, and it gives you a sense that we're going to be expecting hard times as they limit spending growth to 1.5% per year. And that's really interesting because the Bank of Canada, as far as I'm aware, is still aiming for 2% inflation. So what that means is that essentially you're going to see real cuts in provincial spending. If you're spending 1.5% more, but everything costs 2% more, then you're obviously getting less for your money. So that's going to be interesting, and I was really surprised to hear how willing the finance minister was to admit that that's what's going to be happening just months before a provincial campaign.
Yes, very true. Nobody wants to use that word. I think people have been expecting it and dreading it a bit. It is quite something. It's interesting that that announcement came the same day as here in Saskatoon. They announced $31 million for a rare earth elements processing plant. Not suggesting that's a bad investment, but it's an interesting juxtaposition. On the same day, we're hearing that there's tough times ahead.
Absolutely. Well, it was great to talk to you again, Phil, and I'm sure we'll check in again next week to analyze the news of the week. Thanks again, and go to theleaderpost.com for the latest updates and thestarphoenix.com as well.